Here at the Giver Marketing Network, we don't leave you drifting out in space. We connect you to a coach who will help you build and grow your marketing business. Our process acts as a guide on how to connect with other businesses, maintain good relations, and establish a presence on the Giver Marketing Network. Each member within this collaborative group will have the opportunity to leverage your talent and influence, a true network effect. If you are looking to collaborate on more projects, welcome to the Giver Marketing Network, the most trusted and highest rated collective of specialists on the planet. Here we have a group of like-minded professionals who focus on making valuable introductions and helping each other grow by teaming up. Imagine Upwork meets a network and a coach. The talent collectively includes services like visibility and SEO, creating logos, designing websites, managing social media, outreach messaging, visual storytelling, and much more. Think of what you could do with laser-focused allies strengthening your business while offering your talent to the entire network. Click near this video for more information.
Welcome everybody to the Giver Marketing Network Tuesday broadcast. Also want to let everybody know who is part of Kingdom Warriors University. We are going to have a blast today. Christine, do you want to share with us a little bit of our topic? What are we talking about today?
Oh, goodness. We're on our AI series right now. We've been talking about how to use AI for your business. So we've talked about all sorts of wonderful topics, AI and branding, AI and visibility. We've done so much fun, but today is AI and promotions. And that's one of my favorite playgrounds. And I see from the people in the house today that this is your favorite too. So I'm looking forward to hearing what everybody has to share today.
We're going to have a blast. And so what we'll do is we'll go around the horn and kind of ask everybody what they have been able to do as far as implementing AI when it comes to things like ads, anything promoting or putting the word out, like even posts where you're kind of grabbing some attention of your audience. And so let's just go around the horn and kind of give some examples, maybe some thoughts around what you've learned, and then we can get into some of the visuals that you and I have prepared, Christine, in just a few minutes. But let's do that. Anybody who is able to unmute, go ahead and share a little bit about what you've been doing, and we'll start unmuting folks as we go around as well, to just make sure that they can share. All right. Who wants to go first?
I'll jump in because what we have been doing with our promotion is we've been using Adobe Firefly and ChatGPT a little bit, but not a ton, in order to actually create some posts on social media in order to bring people towards our brand. And so that means we're creating some photos as well as basically some copy, and then going in and editing it to make it work. And that's how we've been doing it.
So you're using the copy part of it and then also the visual side of it, correct? It's both?
Yes.
Is that what I'm hearing? Okay, good. Yeah. So anything anybody's going to be seeing or reading, you're kind of running it through, getting your ideas going, kind of getting things, giving you possibilities, and then you're taking those and editing those down to your perfect voice, correct?
Yeah, exactly. We're taking it, we're getting ideas generally from it, and then I'm actually putting my voice to it. So it's basically like using as a writer. I used to write scripts, and I would have a blank page in front of me, and I would just start writing and then backspace it all, and then start writing and backspace it all, until I had something I liked. And so what I'm doing is I'm creating these ideas through the first part through ChatGPT, and then writing from there, and then going to Adobe Firefly to create a photo that fits with what I had written.
Got it. Okay. And you have a little bit of a background in the creative space, correct? Can you share a little bit about?
So my training is acting for film and television. And I have produced a few films as well, and written, and I've never directed one, but I've been a part of teams that have created a bunch of films. And so I wish I would have had these tools when I was doing that. That would have made this so much easier.
Thanks for sharing that. That gives context to kind of your skills and kind of what you've been using that for. Anybody else have any quick examples? Megan, Nathan, we'll come to your example visually later, like in about maybe 15 minutes or so. But anybody have any quick examples just to get our minds going?
Yeah, I like to use it for AI for research as well. So when we're creating a product or a specific service, client information, a lot of times the client doesn't have time to provide us with detailed information. So we'll use AI and do some background research and then bring it in for editing.
It's interesting that you mentioned that, because if we give AI some of these prompts, when we show our clients, our associates, our power partners, some ideas that we came up with, then that just generates a faster decision process. As far as I can tell. I mean, that's just my experience. Joel, you and I have worked on a few projects together, and so I can appreciate what you're saying there. Almost like that preliminary prompting before you even go into that brainstorming session with your client, whatever it is. I appreciate that. Anybody else, real quickly, maybe one more of what you're doing?
Yeah, so I've been doing content for the last 12, 13 maybe years. So when I think about promotion, I always think the best way to promote a product, service, or anything that you want to get attention to is with content that is informational, educational, or entertaining. And so I kind of always start from a top level view of what is the long form piece of content that I need to create that will educate, inform, or entertain. And AI just happens to be really great at producing that content. But then when it comes to, okay, I've already made the content to promote it, turns out AI is really good at chopping up that long form piece of content into micro content that you can then distribute across social media, email newsletters, forums, what have you. So I'll often use the AI to, if I've published a YouTube video, I'll pop a link into the chat and say, hey, from this transcript, create 10 promotional tweets that I can share on Twitter. Or if it's a blog post, post a link to the blog post and say, hey, take this blog post, turn it into a Twitter thread, or turn it into a thread for those of us, the 5.5 of us that are on Instagram threads.
All right. So those of you that are listening in the audience, start sharing some of your ideas, your thoughts, your questions around AI meets promotion. Dustin just mentioned, put this in the chat box, repurpose. Just put the word repurpose in the chat box, because that's going to help us remember, like, okay, we can actually repurpose all this content we've had for years or even months, and it's just really good. How do we make sure and get that in front of folks in a different way? Well, we have some answers for you today. So this is going to be a good conversation. Christine, with that, would you like to go ahead and share just a little bit of the blueprint that we often refer to in this conversation? And let's jump into promotion. What is promotion as pertains to blueprint? Looks like we're going to be able to kind of just get our mind going this way, and then we'll land on some examples, some more visuals from Megan, Nathan in a few minutes. So yeah, promotion matters. We know that when people think of marketing, they think of advertising generally. If you're talking to the general population, this is normally what they're thinking of. Even though marketing has so many other pieces, we're going to land on the most common kind of aspects of marketing today. So that's good. So promotion does matter. Thank you, Christine, for that. And we want to make sure and remind all of our associates, our friends, our power partners, our clients, anybody listening, our animals, everybody listening, we do not want to spam our audience, ladies and gentlemen. We want to have an intelligent, a classy, an emotionally awesome connection with our audience. We do not want to spam them and chase them away with randomness and weirdness and uninvited conversation for the most part. Okay, so we want to just make it really clear. We oftentimes refer to something that we call the ICE guideline, which is informing, giving a call to action, engaging. And we won't go into all the details of that, Christine, but I did want to make sure, I appreciate that we can make sure that this basic framework for a basic ad, like if you don't have these three pieces, you don't have an ad. Like that it's just not, that's not what you have. You have maybe a visual of some kind, or you have some kind of a part of an ad, but if you don't have these pieces, you just don't have an ad. So
well, and it's great to point out, since we're talking about AI, that you can, if you don't have all these elements, use your AI to help you come up with the other pieces that you don't have, right? So maybe you have the monologue part, but okay, well, now what do I ask them to do, right? So put that into your chat GPTs or whatever your AI is and ask it, what's a good call to action for this? And if it doesn't match what your goal is, maybe you better rewrite your piece, because if it isn't asking for the right thing and it's not achieving the goal you're looking for.
And we're going to have some visuals of an actual tool that helps you create the kind of the ads, or at least the concepts, here in a minute. But yeah, this is the non-negotiables, and we can skip some of this just for sake of time. And if you want more of this, just go to givermarketing.com/blueprint, and you can get the whole training on the visuals here today. Okay, givermarketing.com/blueprint should get you what you need. Yeah, marketing is a series of experiments, right, Christine, Joel, everybody else? I mean, we got to research, test. Joel just mentioned research, testing, changing, repeat. This is a fluid, a very ever-changing environment that we're in. We're humans. We're not robots. So and even robots change. So it's like we're humans. We're very complex, very interesting animals. Like we change all the time. We use different language. Every 10 years, it seems like there's different definitions of the same words. Like language shifts and evolves. So we got to kind of work with that. Let's not get stuck in like 1993. Okay, like let's make sure and stay fresh with our communication. And this is really a big part of promotion of all kinds. Getting the word out is what we're talking about today. So what's next on the visuals here? Oh, hey, look. Nothing better than a great acrostic or acronym. Okay, so depending, I always forget which word to use here. Is this an acrostic or an acronym, ladies and gentlemen? I'm trying to remember.
Where's our English majors in the house, right?
Come on. Well, put that into AI and let me know what you guys come up with, Magi founder guy or whoever, Dustin. But listen, ultimately you want to have the almighty referral coming through as a part of your kind of promotional strategy. So you're asking for referrals. There's a lot of overlap here with other parts of marketing as well. But you have these events that you want to promote. You have print pieces that you want to develop so that when you're in person, you can go ahead and hand folks information pieces that capture their attention. And yes, we are more than a digital marketing like group of agencies and professionals. Okay, we do believe in in-person meetings. We're believers. Okay, it's okay to go to in-person meetings still, but listen, when you do, you gotta be dressed for success. You gotta be ready to go. So bring some of those print pieces, and if you're involved in any kind of print media of any kind, I know Joel has a background in some print media as well, and so that informs a lot of what many of us do online, of course. Any kind of audio experience or video experience, AI is starting to produce mini films right now. Like this is not going away anytime soon, ladies and gentlemen. Like look up Mountain Dew AI movie, and you'll see what I mean. Like just look it up, and you'll be blown away. It's kind of weird actually, but you'll find it interesting that AI actually made that movie. And there's many other ones too now because of this kind of the attention that one got. Okay, so these are just some promptings, if you will, for your own thinking around promotion for your own organization, your own brand. We got to get the word out, ladies and gentlemen. Do not be the best kept secret in town. Okay, good.
Well, so I'm going to pull these slides down for a second because I think these are a great area for us to hear the expertise from our team here. So
Come on.
let's pull those slides down for a second and let's talk about a little bit have you used it for referrals? Have you used AI for events, for print, for online, right? Audio, TV, video, any of those areas? Let's get some expertise in the room here is sharing what they know.
I think the fun thing to experiment with are things like headlines. So if you're talking about headlines and call to action components of your promotion, attention getting headlines is probably, one of the most creative aspects of putting together a good promotion. So attention getting statements, creative headlines, good closing statements, those are all fun generatives that we pull from AI.
Well, so think about those who have not really dived into AI much. How would they do that? Anybody want to give some feedback on how would you use this to create creative headlines?
Megan, Nathan, can you reference that tool just as a kind of a teaser to what we're going to be showing in a minute?
Okay, the tool that I've been using is called addcreative.ai. And so in a few minutes, I'll be demoing what we can do with it.
Awesome. Addcreative.ai, super interesting. Now, listen, if you're listening to a recording here, addcreative.ai may be doing great. It may not be. That I'm just saying, like, as of the recording right now, it's a tool you can use. We're in the early days of a wild, wild west of creative innovation right now. Okay, I think you're going to see that tools like Magi are going to be around a long time, but some of these other ones we're just using kind of in the meantime to try to get them some things going. Okay, so thank you for mentioning that, Megan, Nathan. And we do want to show some visuals on at least what some of these tools can do. So that'll be good. David, did you have anything to add to this conversation?
Yeah, just on that last point, Timothy, I do regular trainings for small business owners on implementation of AI. And one of the things that a lot of people start with is the tool. And so one of the visuals in my presentation that I give is whatever the most recent screenshot of a website like there's an AI for that.com, because at least on that site, they list the number of different AI tools that they have cataloged to date. The last screenshot that I took was just over 9,100 different tools, most of which will not be around, in a couple of years. And so my recommendation is, don't start with the tool, although that's, how a lot of us, particularly in the marketing space, and those of us who buy lifetime deals, that's how I found out about Magi, by the way, we are introduced to the tool and then we're like, oh, this is so cool. How can I use this? And I would say that's probably the wrong way to approach it, right? We're all running businesses. We're all serving clients. What are the present problems that we're already dealing with? And then looking at those and saying, how can we take AI and attempt to solve this or speed up the process or do this less expensively, and then find the tool that's going to be most effective at helping us do that. So that is a little off the path of our acrostic. That was the word that we were looking for.
Acrostic. Thank you so much. So when it comes to our topic of the day, ladies and gentlemen, thank you, David, as those in the audience are kind of thinking through this, what are the problems that you're facing right now that it just takes way too much time to do? Like what and it's different for everybody. So there's no wrong answer. Just put some clues for us in the comments so that we can better serve you in how we address this conversation. When it comes to promoting or getting the word out about your brand, your organization, your company, your cause, your business, what is it that causes you the most anxiety? How do I even create this? Or how do I even do this? Like, fill in the blank. Give us some clues in the comments, ladies and gentlemen. Even if you're listening to the recording, put it in there. It's a good exercise for you to write out what it is you're trying to solve, and some of these tools may be able to help with that. Okay, so we got referrals, events, print, online type of like Facebook ads and Google ads and those kind of things. We got anything audio like podcasts or even traditional radio like voiceovers and just different things like this. We got TV and video, which is obviously video based moving pictures, ladies and gentlemen, like having some fun with that. Anything around those pieces that might be worth addressing before we move to the next iteration of our conversation?
Yeah, can I speak to referrals for a quick moment?
Oh yeah, preach it, brother.
So this is an area that I think, Timothy, you know, that we spend a lot of time on, because referrals within a business, and I'm not talking about refer a friend kind of programs, but rather getting a client to refer you, right? And how do you build systems around that? Well, one of the things that I think we overlook, at least as marketers, we overlook the use of AI for, is to work through a process or a problem, or create a process or create a system for us. And because of the vast amount of information that these AI tools have, we can almost use them as coaches or guides or consultants for us to figure out how to do some of the things. So, one of the things that I think we all know is getting a referral for a business is a lot less expensive and higher possibility of conversion than a cold lead. How do we build out a referral system? And just having AI coach us through that process, asking questions about it and getting guidance, could be a really useful approach.
I love it. So just even conversational points around how to prompt or encourage those kind of referrals, and then that jumps into almost gives us a little like product placement today for what we're going to be talking about next week, which is nurturing. How do we nurture those conversations in a way that we stay in front of them before and after the sale, before and after the initial significant transaction? How does that actually work? And so, David, if you're available next week, great. If not, Ken Cook could maybe jump on, or others. We're going to be having those conversations around nurturing and conversational style approaches to a very clear way to generate more beneficial scenarios for both us and our clients and our power partners. So that'll be really good. But it does apply to promotion, because we're asking them to promote us in a very specific way. And that's what a referral is. We're asking somebody to use, we're borrowing their trust. It's borrowed trust. So we're asking them to promote us or drop our name or do something that would help make sure that people have attention toward what we're doing. So that's good. All right. Thank you for that tip, that idea, that concept. Anything else before we move into some more show and tell? Because this is going to get fun really fast.
Yeah, I love event space, right? We do a lot of events. And so when you can think about the whole process of an event from beginning to end, you can use your AI for that whole process, right? From the beginning of, I need a landing page, right? And this is what I'm talking about, and this is what I want to do, right? And build that out using that. I was working with a client just last night about that. She's got an event coming up. She's going to do a program, right? And we use that to help develop her areas and explain each of the areas that are going to be in her program to build out that landing page, right? Just recently, we did something with Oz with his, was it Nemosa, right? No More Starving Artists. And he needed a letter to send out to artists to see if they were interested in talking about his project, right? So we said, okay, well, based on this website and the information on this website, this is what we want to talk to them about. And it came up with a beautiful letter of, why they should come talk to us and please. And it was like, wow, that's actually pretty good. I was impressed. You can't do it exactly the way it is. You got to go in and tweak it here and there and add your own voice to it. But it's amazing what it'll create for you. Right. And you can tell it to adjust and change it accordingly. I want it to be more friendly or not. So it's really awesome.
One of my favorite things to do with written copy is to ask AI to stop using the stinking repetitive words. Give me some synonyms, like give me something interesting, an analogy, a word picture, something that's going to say the same thing, but in a different way. And I know that some of the tools are starting to get better and better in that regard. But ladies and gentlemen, as you're getting your copy together for your event or for whatever it is that you're promoting, say the same thing in multiple ways. Language is funny that way. We remember it if we hear it in multiple ways. it's not enough to just say it over and over again, right? All right, good. So with that being said, Megan Nathan, are you ready to show us a few visuals? I think you have to click share screen and get all ready and do all that kind of stuff with Christine and make sure that's ready to go. Did anybody have anything else while Megan Nathan is getting that ready and clicking on share screen or present?
Yeah, I'll just put an exclamation point on what you said, Tim. And it's great that AI is so well versed in language, and in order to take advantage of that, in order to have it rephrase things for us, because it does an excellent job at that. The great thing about conversational AI is you just tell it to. You can add that as part of your initial instruction. I need you to write this type of thing for me. Please use multiple different ways of approaching it so that we can say it in different ways that people might understand. You can even turn that into a persona or an AI personality or a custom instruction, and have it be a more robust language producer based on what you want it to do.
Well said. Well said. So even preempting that and instructing the tool ahead of time as opposed to kind of playing catch up with it. Interesting. I love that. Okay, so I'm noticing there's a couple of questions coming through the comments. Christine, do you feel like those would be better suited for later or for now? Oh, here we go. Let's go.
do it. So for AI to produce written snippets from video, do we need the transcript first or can AI transcribe it?
Good question. Does somebody want to tackle that?
The answer would be depends on the AI app. Some apps you will need to import the transcript manually, either via copy and paste, and in most cases via copy and paste. Some tools like ChatGPT or Claude or Magi have adopted the ability to add a PDF or a file to the chat, so you can upload the transcript as a text file. I've yet to see any other apps do this, but Magi does do this. If you, inside of Magi, you paste a link to a YouTube URL, to a YouTube video, Magi will recognize that it's a YouTube video and it will automatically pull the transcript for you. So no need to drop a file and just paste a URL. So it just depends on the tool.
That's a fun approach to using a tool, is just popping a link in like that. Do you mind me asking if it's best used for like YouTube videos, or are there other types of links that are able to be used within that particular tool, Dustin?
So right now, Magi only recognizes...
Any other type of link?
Well, right now there's two different types of URLs that Magi will recognize: a regular web page or a YouTube video. If it's a regularly formatted web page, you paste a link, it'll pull all of the text from that page in a normal fashion. So if you have, say, a web page that is just a transcript, then that should work technically. But YouTube videos in particular, I built a very specific recognition process. If it's a YouTube video, pull the transcript.
Come on, let's go. Okay. All right. With
Timothy, I'll just add that this is sort of similar to what you can do with plugins that are specifically for this purpose in the paid version of ChatGPT. There's also tools that are built specifically for the podcasting space that are also able to parse audio out of video or audio files and extract the text. So there's a lot of different ways to accomplish this with different tools. And again, it's the start with the problem, then find the tool to solve it approach that I would recommend.
Come on.
Yeah, I was going to say for podcasting, I know I've used Descript, right? You can actually edit the text portion and then it'll cut the video to match. I mean, that's pretty awesome, right? So there's some really cool tools out there.
Some of these tools were being used before AI was even kind of the front running language. They were already using some of these early versions of these this technology. So that's super fun to kind of nerd out about some of the tools that have been around for a little while too. So that's good. They're tested and they're tried, and it's good. All right, Megan Nathan, what do you got for us today? Christine, do you want to bring up that other presentation and see what we can do as far as an actual on the fly experiment. Let's do this, Megan Nathan. Lead us through this.
Yes, I think just before I start, I want to thank everyone for bringing up the point about finding the problem to solve first before you go for the AI tool. I agree with what was mentioned, is that we need to start thinking about these sites that I mentioned last week, topai.tools, which will give you access to more than 5,000 AI tools that you could look at as to solve your problem. Like when we were talking about how to transcribe videos, I mean, there's 60 that come up already that'll be able to transcribe your videos, your podcasts. So I would say use these sites to be able to find your solution. So today we want to look at a tool called adcreative.ai, which will allow you to be able to create ad creatives within a minute or less. And so for myself, who's a person who comes from the IT background, getting into the marketing space, I'm not great with copy. I'm not great with images or color or design, like you'll ask my wife and you'll find out. So today we're going to just go through a quick example of this tool on how to be able to get it to run through and create an ad or ads for us. So first, it allows you to be able to put in your website. It'll then scan your website to find your colors, the content that you're looking for. And then it'll populate various fields like your brand name, your colors. You could even upload your brand logo, which I'll do now. Just give me one sec. So it has to be a transparent background logo. So I'm bringing that up. And then, of course, what we do is
just brought up your colors, everything. There. Okay, I see it now. I see it. Yep.
You see it pulled in the brand description from what it pulled up from the site. So we go through the process of creating the brand now. And then what we need to do is to define what is it that we would want Ad Creative to create for us. So I'm going to skip guess. Give me 1 second. So now next we're going to be able to select what type of ad we would like to be able to create or have Ad Creative create for us. And so here we would say definitely ad creatives, ad text, we can go to social. So there's so many there that you could be able to think about to create. Let's go to projects. You could then be able to create a project focused on what you've just created. So I'm just going to go back 1 sec. So I'm going to ask you to create this ad package.
Okay.
Let's skip through this guide. So there's multiple guides to help you through the process.
Let's do something around holidays. I mean, there seems to be a holiday every 2 weeks in America, at least, and around the world, there seems to be holidays coming and going all the time. So let's do something around just a holiday of some kind.
Okay, great. Let's go through. So it scanned my website, picked up keywords that we could then be used for these ads.
Okay.
Let it go through its process. So here what it's done is it picked up keywords from the website, and we can then decide what is it that we want to be able to focus on.
Do an exclusive discount of some kind or something.
Okay, fine. So we're going to create a post. Give me 1 second to close up these. Okay, Facebook Meta ad, the creative size, we're choosing post size.
Great.
And then what's great, I could either upload an image or I can search in the image gallery for something that we want to be able to find. This free stock images. We could select any of the images according to the words that it picked up. Let's say
so it's pulling in free stock images, and then it's gonna do some special sauce with it.
That's it. So we can specify what type of image we want to be pulled out. So specifically for Thanksgiving, what is it we'd like to promote?
Thankfulness, connectedness, I'm just brainstorming here. Jump in.
Well, and Black Friday is kind of closely associated nowadays also. So
Okay, so let's put something about Thanksgiving. Okay, of course, there's the images coming through.
So you got some basic images there, and then it just gives you a place to start. Kind of instead of searching all over the internet and hoping that your images are, able to be used, it brings it in specifically. Okay, I see what it's doing. This is good.
Okay, so now that we've selected that particular image, we could then continue.
So Megan Nathan, it looks like it literally walks you through every step of creating your ad.
That's exactly it.
Wow. Okay. So you're putting you just kind of, like Christine said, walking through it. Oh, there you go. Look at that. Interesting.
So
I'm thankful that I have online presence to begin with. You know what I mean? You can have some fun with this, right, ladies and gentlemen? Any thoughts on this visual from others? Megan Nathan, I know that we can get really deep into the technology here, but at the end of the day, this is very user friendly. This is a great interface.
Mm-hmm. And so one other tool I saw, perhaps I can share that also. I mean, once you've created these ad creatives, you would then, you're thinking whether these are great. Will it appeal to your audience? Where do you place this? And what other tool that I found is another called Dicer.ai. Let me share that quickly, just for you to show, and then we can chat about how we could use these tools.
Maybe what you can do is get that ready and prepared, and then we can have a discussion about what we just saw, and then begin kind of landing the plane on this conversation so that folks can have a call to action for themselves. Then now would be the time, ladies and gentlemen, to ask your questions. This is like, we've gotten the visuals, we've got the conversations, we've got the examples of how we might want to use these tools to solve a problem or to save some time. What is it that we observed from this exercise, ladies and gentlemen, that could be applied today, like right now, to solve a problem?
One of the big things, I think, when you're talking about ad creatives is that our digital world is so narrow in targeting and focus that being able to add prompts that allows you to create that kind of spearheaded promotional language with the right keywords, identifying the audience, having images that are relevant, providing value in your content, a few things like that, to be able to have those narrowly focused terms generated ahead of time so that you can then implement it or then ask the system to use this content to create, use those terms to create the content. And then it gives you a nice starting point, probably shaves 2 to 3 hours off of the creative process.
I was just thinking through, like, there's the time savings, but then there's also the brain cell utilization. I don't know. Does somebody know the term for that? Like, what do we call that, Christine? Like, just my brain power. Like, I only have a certain amount. I have 5 kids. My oldest just got married. There's a lot going on, like, really good things, but I don't have the time to sit here and like tweak something. Like what is that? Just brain power? Like,
if you can save your brain power, that's the best way I can say it too, unless anybody else has another term for it. Right?
I just call
Save your
it energy.
energy.
Yeah.
Energy,
I just call it energy. I think we shouldn't only be concerned about managing our time, but we should also manage our energy. And the more conservative we can be with every decision that we make or every amount of options. This is why I tend to have problems with these big, solutions that have 1,000 different plugins or options or things to choose from. Our productivity dies the death of 1,000 options and decisions.
Ooh, that's worth
So-
writing down. Okay, all right. I like that, Dustin.
So I love this Ad Creative AI because it's a very specific problem that it solves, and it gives you a linear approach to solving that problem. Whereas, something like a ChatGPT plugins library, I think sucks up more brain energy and power and creativity in trying to just locate the solution rather than a clear-cut path to a solution.
So it sounds like some of these are a little bit more broad, and then if you know what if you've had a lot of practice and you've already used your brain power to kind of learn how to do it and kind of learn the tool, then it can be very, very, very helpful. But then there's other ones. It's like, let's just get this thing done. Like, I know exactly what I want to do. Megan, Nathan, you had another tool that you wanted to bring up just for a visual?
Yes. So this is called Dicer.ai. And so they're touting this as the world's first digital marketing co-pilot. So what it does is that if you have ads that you've already created, and it'll speak to what Joel has been doing and others, is that you've got a particular client, you would want to be able to analyze what has been created. What this tool does is it goes through about 3 years of Facebook ad data that it has, compares what you've created, finds the best and the worst. It analyzes your video. I think someone asked a question about transcription of videos. It analyzes the content of your video, analyzes the copy. It then gives suggestions to you as an ad creative to say, these are the things to consider. This is what we think might sell. And so I think this is an awesome tool that we could play around next time, and then you could look at it.
I appreciate you just putting it on the screen so that people can go look at it. Thank you for doing that. I'll pull it off the screen now. As we wrap up, ladies and gentlemen, what what is it that we want to take away from this? What did you learn? Like, what are you going to apply? We're marketing professionals here. We're not arrogant enough to think that we have all the answers. We're better together, right? So, David, what do you got? Maybe some others.
Yeah, I want to layer one more thing on top of it, and then I'll share a takeaway. This stuff is moving so fast, and a lot of the ad networks, the platforms, are also making significant changes. Take, for example, Google's Performance Max, or Meta has changed a lot of the way that they are adding an additional level of machine learning on top of what they've had in the past. It's now sort of hyper-powered machine learning. And understanding that some of what we've just been looking at taps into the way that we've manually managed ads on these platforms in the past. But because there's so much machine learning and dynamic stuff within these platforms, some of this stuff may not actually match up. And so maybe he's taking a step back and understanding like the whole range of tools that we're including in our process to make sure that we're not, cutting off our nose to spite our face kind of thing, using one of these tools and then putting it into, Performance Max, and it's not compatible with the way that Performance Max actually is built to work. That's an important thing that as marketers we need to realize. What I'm seeing is a lot of people saying their ROAS on these tools with the machine learning is going down, and they're not sure why. And I think it's because we're sort of mixing old with new, and so we have to be aware of that.
So what I'm hearing you say there, David, as we go into kind of takeaways in a minute, is be careful not to lean into the tools themselves only. Like, make sure that you're applying it correctly. Make sure that there is a human touch and eyeballs, and like think through what's actually happening. But at the same time, play around. Like, get to know these tools. Like, experiment with them. Don't feel like you're going to have to get it right the very first time you come up with some kind of rendering of this generative AI output. Like, it's a co-pilot, but it's not the pilot. Like, let's be real, okay? Like, it's not actually driving yet, like in all cases. So let's use it, play with it, get to know it like you would just some like a personality or something you'd want, or any other tool. and then be cognizant of the fact this is changing so fast that we're going to need to grow with it. But it's just like when computers first came out. Like, when do we use a computer and when do we use a typewriter? When do we use a computer and when do we use a manual spreadsheet? When do we use a computer and when do we do this? Like, it's the same thing. Like, let's be careful, because you click one button the wrong way or even the right way, and it puts out information that you thought was correct, but you got to double, triple check this stuff to make sure you're doing it right.
Yeah,
Is that what
I
I'm
think
hearing?
I think one of the most important words that I try to use when we're talking about AI technology is context, and that applies in lots of different areas of discussion here. But understanding the environment that you're in, understanding the context you're working in, to figure out how to best approach it is really, really important.
Love it, love it. And you're always good about going at the first principles, the higher level, the kind of the major points of strategy. So I appreciate that about you, David, and it's well received in this conversation. All right, so let's bring that down a little bit into the takeaways, the boots on the ground. What am I going to do different from seeing some of these tools? I mean, what are you going to do different? Let's just be transparent about this with our audience. We got people that are running everything from a small like ministry out in the like in a small town somewhere to like somebody running multi-million-dollar companies. Probably some that are tuning in that have maybe larger companies that have even gone public and some things like this. This is what we've seen across the board. It's anything. Our audience is just interested in learning. Like, they just want to know what's going on. So what are we going to do as marketing professionals based on this conversation today?
Well, there's so many options to choose from, and we had some more tools today that everybody shared, and I'm looking forward to diving in and playing with some of those. Like, I'm an Adobe fan. I use a lot of different tools there, but I have not played with their Firefly that Joel Thiessen mentioned earlier. So I'm like, oh, let me see, because I tried some of the other ones, and let's just say I posted my first attempt at creating digital art, and it was really, really bad. I'm going to assume it's more user error than anything else, and I will own that. But don't give up. Keep trying, right?
Excellent. Who's next? Dustin, I'm going to use Magi to play with some YouTube video and some website kind of transcripting. It's just easy for me to say yes to that because I've already love the platform. So I'm just going to commit to that, ladies and gentlemen, because it's just a no-brainer. Why would I not do that? Like, that just makes a lot of sense, especially with our new podcast that just came out and just a bunch of things. So we'll find ways to kind of repurpose some of that content, and it'll be good. Who's next?
Go ahead.
Yeah.
I was just thinking, I'm also thinking about the whole video thing. I actually had somebody reach out. It's like, do you have time to watch this for me? And I'm like, sure. And then I'm like, oh, that's 30 minutes. Yeah, no, don't have that time. Right. So you're talking about putting the video in. And I'm like, I could put the video in and just skim through an outline of that. Right. Here's the transcript. Give me the outline. Boom. Got it. Good. Right.
Guilty
And
of
I'm
doing
just
that
thinking,
myself.
time saver, right. I can't be the only one that's thinking
Wow,
that,
you just
okay?
Christine, you just saved me like 10 hours this week. Like, thank you for mentioning that. That's a good idea. All right, Megan, Nathan, what do you got?
Yeah, I think, like I mentioned before, is that we need to be at, watching what the latest tools are and using them, trying them out. Especially we're talking about transcribing these videos, using this site I mentioned, topai.tools, which allows you to see the top tools that are there, specific for your purpose. Like David had mentioned, what's your problem? Find a tool that could help you. Go through them, find the best for you. I think we have to be in that mode of learning, continuous learning.
What are you trying this week?
For myself, I'm looking at tools, specifically creating ads. Like I've shown you, adcreative.ai. I'm looking at others in that line because I need to get what I'm working on. My focus now is on reskilling the workforce for this AI era. And so I'm looking to see how to create these ads.
Okay, and you'll pop some of that in our Slack workspace and some of the other, maybe our Facebook group and some of those things, just to let us know how that's going. I appreciate your work in that. You're kind of one of our resident Martech / AI kind of guys. So we really appreciate you on that. David, what are you thinking as far as application here?
Yeah, I mean, this is a conversation that is continuing to develop as I'm seeing new tools come out, and the work that I'm doing around AI, aside from helping marketers find creative and appropriate ways to apply it beyond what we think of as traditional marketing, is working with businesses on applying it into their culture and their internal processes, and how does it support operational activities. And so a lot of the creating content and creating campaigns and stuff, which is super cool and quite obvious to a lot of us, is where I tend to focus a lot of the time that I'm spending with businesses that are out of our space of how do you create a full email campaign, or how do you build out a lead magnet or 10 lead magnets in 10 minutes and split test them all, all of that stuff that we do. I'm spending a lot of time figuring out how do I get the person who is complaining saying, I just finally learned QuickBooks and now you want me to learn more technology? How do we get them into the groove of appreciating the value of all of this the capabilities of AI, and that's a tall order.
I see what you're doing there. Okay,
Yeah.
so if I'm hearing you right, you're trying to figure out how to help guide your licensees, your power partners, your associates, your joint venture partners, your folks into this modern era without confusing the crap out of them, and basically helping them save a bunch of time, have a more impact, and just be more successful at what they've already been doing, but tweaking it in such a way that it goes boom and it explodes their growth,
Sure.
but in a manageable way is what I'm hearing. Like in a way that doesn't break the brain cells and it doesn't break the team. It actually brings the team together, and we can actually do this. So I appreciate you, David, in that regard, and that you actually think of the holistic approach. I know we have a comment here in the chat box from someone says, it's a great way to create a checklist to make sure that all of your promotional materials are in alignment with your brand. Come on, that's a great way to end this session, Christine. I really, this broadcast has been very valuable for me, and I look forward to playing around in these ways. And we've committed to learning together, and we're asking you, as those who are listening, to participate with us. Put comments in the chat, put questions in the chat, continue to have this dialogue with your team. And we also have places where we can just have open conversations that aren't really broadcasted. Christine, can you mention kind of at least maybe the Wednesday group that gets together?
Well, I was thinking also just wrapping up today with the idea, if this is something that interests you and you're a little intimidated by AI, don't worry, you probably won't break it. So give it a try anyway. Come join us in our Giver Marketing group, right? Our Facebook group, because that's a great place to ask questions and get feedback from our marketing experts in there. We love those kind of questions. We love being able to help. So come participate with us and be part of our family there. We want to help you. So that being said, today was promotions. Next week is going to be nurturing. And I know Timothy mentioned that earlier. So if you're interested, like, okay, well, how do I nurture these prospects along or nurture my clients along so they stay clients, right? That's going to be our focus for next week. So it's going to be a great topic. So I'm hoping we have some of our same smiling faces coming back and maybe some new ones. That's going to be fun next week. So don't miss next week. And then tomorrow is Wednesday, and Wednesday is networking for marketers. So don't be a lonelypreneur. Come hang out with us. You always can have fun. We have open doors. I want to say, let's see. Oh, there it is. Networking. It's 8 a.m. on Pacific time, 11 Eastern time. Register at givermarketing.com/networking. So come play with us.
All right. The website /networking. God bless you guys. Have a great week. We'll see you tomorrow. Woo-hoo. Talk soon.